Stephen Moore, do you think that the Western weaponry in general is the decisive factor for the Ukraine to win?
Yeah, definitely. I think that if the international coalition supporting Ukraine evaporates after, 20 months now, then I think that this war becomes a much different experience. And I think that the Russians have the economy and they have the oil and they have the power to retool. Now, their war machine, the heirs to the Soviet Union, the heirs to the Soviet war machine are buying weapons from Iran. And, but, they've got a lot of money to do it.
Yeah, right. So evaporate, the international help, the United States help evaporate. Can that happen?
Yeah. Yesterday was not a banner day for Ukraine in the U.S. Congress. So Mike Johnson, by all accounts, is a good man and well regarded by his peers. However, on the issue of Ukraine, he has voted against aid to Ukraine 9 times, which is every possible time that you could vote against Ukraine.
Why?
There's 55 or so members of the U.S. House of Representatives, Republicans, who are against aid to Ukraine, and they've been solidly against the aid to Ukraine every time. He's one of them.
Yeah, well, what is the reason?
Good question. Part of the reason is that conservatives in America are not getting good information about what's happening in Ukraine. Some of the previously solid conservative icons, conservative sources of information, are not giving good information about what's happening here. And Tucker Carlson's a prime example. He is making up fiction and telling it to the American people.
Nothing new, isn't it?
I actually worked with Tucker on a project, 2010, so it was a long time ago. He had just opened the Daily Caller, his newspaper. At that time, the Daily Caller was covering things that were not being covered elsewhere. And so at that point, it was a real welcome addition to the media ecosphere. And so I helped him. I helped him on Capitol Hill. I got together a bunch of chiefs of staff. I was a chief of staff at the time, and I helped him promote the Daily Caller on Capitol Hill. And at that time, he was doing good work. Now, he has decided to play fast and loose with the truth. And particularly he said that the Zelensky government is persecuting Christians, which is the furthest thing from the truth. What's happening is that Protestant Christians are being persecuted and tortured by the Russians in the occupied areas. So it's really unfortunate that he would choose to endanger the lives of Ukrainian believers with the nonsense that he's telling people.
Well, now Zelensky is Jewish, so now Jews are persecuting Christians. That's another thing to discuss.
Yeah.
The history is going backwards then. And well, help me to understand. Ukraine wins or Russia loses for the United States of America. Is one and the same, or those are two different things?
That's a good question. I'll tell you what. I have a friend, Yuri, the Supreme Court Justice. Yuri's an extremely bright man. And he said to me, I understand Trump's position. I don't agree with it, but I understand it. And I understand a position of giving us, the Ukrainians, all the weapons that we need to win. But he says, I don't understand what Biden is doing right now, which is dripping weapons out. And of course, in January, they promised Abrams tanks, and they just got here. F-16s were a bad idea in February, a good idea in May, and they're still not here. So there's a theory that so why is this happening? I don't know. But Yuri says that we're in a partnership. Ukraine is in a partnership with the United States. America supplies the weapons. Ukraine supplies the lives of their very best people. And when things go slowly like this, Ukraine's contribution goes up.
So what's next? I mean, the tone that you're speaking right now, the whole idea is like there are a bunch of international experts talking about this, why this is going on, but nobody knows a thing.
Yeah. Listen, Capitol Hill, I spent 7.5 years on Capitol Hill. I had an office right underneath the Capitol Dome, so I was right in the middle of everything. And these days is very difficult to discern, the mood of Congress and what they're doing and why. And that applies to the administration as well. It's a very chaotic time.
Right.
Yeah. So. Here's what I see happening, though, is right now Biden has proposed a package that has money for Ukraine, money for Israel, and money for border security.
Yeah, what is 100 and something
Yeah,
billion
just a
dollars?
little more than $100 billion.
Yeah,
and
106.
And so it's a good deal, and I'll tell you why. Because we were spending $300 million a day. America was spending $300 million a day in Afghanistan. And for a fraction of that, Ukrainians are pushing back on Putin. They've degraded his warfighting capability by half. And not one American soldier has had to lose his life.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Russia is a Soviet Russia. It's literally an adversary for the United States of America, like forever.
Yeah. Last year, America spent $800 billion at the U.S. Department of Defense. And part of that is to deter Russia. And we've been spending on that scale to deter Russia and China and the threat of Islamic extremism for decades, right? But some portion of it is for Russia. And none of it has ever had the impact that Ukraine's military has had against Russia in this fight in Ukraine.